CHAMPS Live is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare, Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor, and the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury or are just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Hey everybody, hope you're having a good one. Welcome to episode 56 of State Champs Live, presented by Lawrence Technological University. Lawrence Technological University was born 85 years ago in the middle of an innovation explosion that would change the world. None other than Henry and Edsel Ford helped launch the revolutionary experiment that would become LTU, providing guidance and space in their sprawling former Model T assembly plant for the school. Lawrence Tech is about theory and practice, taking abstract ideas into the real world to solve tomorrow's problems. LTU's reputation comes from as much as from what they're doing now as it does from their storied past. Take a virtual tour at ltu.edu. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. My name is Lauren Plant. We are talking both the most underrated quarterbacks in the class of 2021 and some of the best small school QBs in the state. But first, let's get to the headlines for Thursday, June 18th. Fenchel receives another honor. Novi High School's Avery Fenchel might not have gotten the opportunity to lead the Wildcats to a third straight Division I state title this spring, but she still brought home some hardware as she was named the Gatorade Michigan Girls Soccer Player of the Year on Wednesday. Fenchel is the first recipient of the award from Novi. A forward, Fenchel compiled 25 goals and 14 assists as a junior, giving her 58 goals and 29 assists in her Novi career. NCAA D1 Council tables recruiting calendar decision. When the NCAA's Division I Council met virtually on Wednesday, its votes provided some clarity for its current student athletes, but not much for future players. The council adopted a plan for a 6-week football preseason starting as early as July 13th, and resumption of voluntary summer activities for both men and women's basketball beginning July 20th, running through the first day of classes in the fall. The decision on the schedule for the basketball recruiting calendars, when coaches can finally meet with recruits and evaluate this summer, was tabled to a future teleconference to get more input. USTA junior tourneys leaving the state. With the tournament host Kalamazoo College concerned whether or not it could safely execute the mandated protocols to run the 2020 USTA Boys 18 and Under National Championships next month, the USTA chose to move the August 7th through 16th tournament to Orlando, Florida, putting a more than 70-year run for the tournament on pause. The USTA had already announced it was moving the Boys 16 and Under tourney. Okay, hey everybody. So we had some technical difficulties with our computer problems. We're having some battery issues. So today is just one of those days. It's not going to be a train wreck, though. We're going to get through it. Burnstein's got a good connection. And Scott Burnstein joins us now. He writes multiple blogs a week at statechampsnetwork.com. You can read his work by clicking the blog tab and check out either Bernie's Bites or State Champs Scout Team. And just so you guys know, if all of a sudden I disappear, it's a battery issue. I'll try to get it corrected and get going, but Scott can carry the conversation. Today we're focusing on football, and we're spanning two topics. The first you can read right now is he's ranked the top 15 underrated quarterbacks in the class of 2021. If you want to see the entire list, you have to read the blog on the Scout Team page, but we're going to talk about 5 of those guys today. Scott, how you doing? Are you ready?
Good, man. I'm in hog heaven when I'm ranking quarterbacks. I'm right in my wheel.
Okay. That's right. All right. So let's start at number 1 with Belleville senior Christian Dureed.
Yeah, there really wasn't a question in my mind when I was putting this list together who was the most underrated quarterback in the state. The Belleville Bomber, the notorious CDR, probably throws the best ball, best deep ball in all of Division I. He is a gamer. He's durable. He's a guy that really checks all the boxes of the intangibles. Unfortunately, he's got some of the measurables that haven't brought the Division I schools. He's a little short. He's not super mobile. But, okay, maybe he's not a Division I quarterback, but this guy could be a star at the Division II or Division III level. He's thrown for over 5,000 yards in the last 3 years, 100 close to 100 touchdowns. There's really no question in my mind that this kid can excel at the next level. So I'm thinking that Lauren might have just lost our connection, so I'm going to keep on moving here. Alex Stoll over at Schoolcraft is another kid that I'm just really in love with. I think he's got the best arm in the state that people maybe don't know about. He's just got a bazooka, threw for over 3,000 yards and almost 40 touchdowns last year. This kid is just teeming with upside, and I kind of compare him to an MHSAA version of Drew Brees. Makes all the throws, is a leader in the huddle, and someone that you can really put a lot of faith on running your offense. You got Drew Collins over at Montague. You know, the consummate thinking man's quarterback. He's a guy that got an incredible football IQ, throws great intermediate routes, can throw the deep ball incredibly well as he is just a gunslinger. A guy threw for 2,500 yards last year, 30 touchdowns, and took his team on a deep run in the tournament. Then over at Freeland, we have Bryson Huckabee, who could have the biggest upside of any quarterback. I think he's a small school quarterback over at Freeland. Out of all the small school quarterbacks, I think Huckabee could be the one with the brightest upside. He's also a Division I basketball recruit. He's a kid that 6'4". He's poised. He has a big arm. He's someone that plays with swagger and moxie, and kids kind of gravitate towards him. So he's got a real exciting next 2 years on the horizon over at Freeland. Talking about guys like Brady Hesbrook at Ithaca, another guy that is just everything you want in a signal caller. He's the epitome of a leader, an epitome of a dual threat. This guy ran for over 1,000, threw for over 1,000 last year, had about 25 touchdowns combined, and comes from a winning program, comes from great football stock in his pops Terry, and I just think the sky's the limit for Brady Hesbrook at the next level, whether it be the Ivy League or the Patriot League, who I know are both heavily recruiting him. Moving over to the PSL, you got guys like Elijah Granger at Detroit Central. Took his team to the PSL championship last year at the lower level, and is just really electric under center. A lot of shake and bake. A guy that can just make plays. When we're talking about some other players that I'm a big fan of, Jacob Bosamra over at North Farmington, a kid that just got his first college offer, I believe, but he's 6'3", 6'4". He's a scintillating southpaw. He's being mentored by one of the great quarterback whisperers in MHSA history, and John Harrington, who's the all-time leader in wins and state championships over at Harrison, but now he's moved over and is a offensive consultant over with his protege Johnny Herstein over at North Farmington, and Herstein and Harrington are just in love with Bosamra, a guy that is really everything you want in a game day leader, a guy that commands the huddle and has kind of a quiet confidence about him. His team went undefeated in the regular season last year, and brought North Farmington back to those days of Coach Holland back in the 70s and 80s, and a lot of excitement around that program, and a lot of it can be traced back to the quarterback position in Bosamra. John Harrington said he's outside of Drew Stanton and Milt Coleman, he stacks up there with the best quarterbacks that he's ever coached. So that should be an indicator to college coaches to come in and recruit Bosamra. Over at Pontiac Notre Dame Prep, you got Jacob Benson, another real diamond in the rough, hidden gem with a laser of an arm. I think he has. I'm pretty sure he's got Russian parents, so I call him the Russian Rocket. He's a guy that took his team to a district last year in Division Four, and I know he's got a bunch of Division Two offers right now: Northwood, Saginaw Valley State, maybe Grand Valley State as well. And he's a kid that is being recruited at the Division One, or sorry, he's a kid that's being recruited at the Division Two level. But I see Division One type projection, whether it be a lower level D1 or a mid major.
All right, Scott. Yeah, we're still live here. We're having some issues here with Lauren Plant. He's getting back on right now, and I have him right now. Lauren, can you say something?
Yes. Hello. How you
All
doing,
right.
guys? Oh my goodness. So just one of those days, right? So battery issues and everything. So Scott, where did you finish?
I was kind of grasping at straws, grabbing as many names out of my head
All
as
right.
possible. I just
Okay.
finished with Jacob
Get up.
Benson.
Okay. All right. All right. So get up. So you talked about Alex Stoll.
Yeah,
Talked about Drew Collins.
I did.
About did you talk about Summer?
Jacob Osamra, yes.
Yeah, you did. And then you sorry, we're doing this live, everybody. And you got
That's
Benson.
okay.
Okay. So we've got our underrated quarterbacks. Again, for you guys, you can follow those and see his whole list at statechampsnetwork.com. So that is where you can find that. Just click on the blog page and click on State Champs Scout Team and scroll down. You'll see his list. Another list that Scott has coming out very soon, in fact, this week, I believe, features the 30 best small school quarterbacks in the state. And Scott will comment on 4 who are on that list. So let's begin with Freeland's Bryson Huckabee.
Yeah, I talked about him a little when Lauren was off camera, but I'll
Okay.
go back and just say that
Okay.
Bryson Huckabee maybe has the best upside of any quarterback at the small school level. He's 6'4". He throws darts, has a real flamethrower of an arm, and I think he's really just scratching the surface on his potential. He's also a Division I basketball recruit as a shooting guard, and I just just unlimited potential at whether we're talking about the hardwood or the gridiron for Bryson.
All right. The Hesbrook name at Ithaca is famous, obviously. And did you talk about him?
Yeah, I talked about him a little bit, but go back over and just kind of say
Oh,
that
no, no,
this
no.
kid is
That's okay.
okay.
That's all right. If you got him already, you got him. What about,
Okay.
we'll just do this. Giovanni. Have you talked about Giovanni yet?
No, I have not talked about Giovanni,
Okay.
the
Good.
the
Let me bring,
Italian stallion over at Clarkson
yeah,
Everett.
let me introduce him. So again, we're talking about the best small school quarterbacks in the state. Scott has a blog coming out that's going to have 30 of them. So lots of great information there. So now we will talk about Clarkston Everest Collegiate, Giovanni Mastro Matteo.
Yeah, he is just the master of a signal caller. Giovanni has really been at the forefront of what I call the Clarkson Everest Mountaineers microwave dynasty. They've come out of nowhere, have had a program that's only existed for 5, 6, 7 years, and they're two-time defending Catholic League champions. The last 2 titles were won on the shoulders of Giovanni Mastro Matteo. He can beat you with his arm. He can beat you with his feet. He can beat you with his mind. He is a guy that I just think projects really well at probably the at the Division II level or the Division III level or NAIA in college. But I think he can be a star just because he brings so much poise and so much playmaking under center, and the type of experience that he has had leading Clarkson Everest to 2 Catholic League championships, really kind of out of nowhere, just shooting up the charts to being a Catholic League power, and that can really be put at the doorstep of Giovanni and the playmaking that he's brought to the table.
All right, well, let's finish up then with Detroit Central's Elijah Granger.
Yeah, I did mention him before, but I'll just say one more time. Elijah Granger is a dynamic signal caller that not a lot of people know about. Put on a show last year at Ford Field in the PSL title game for the lower division, and is just you blink and he's gone. He can slip through coverages with his throws. is a guy that can really thread a needle, and then he's also a guy that can slip through defenders with his feet because he's very slippery and elusive. So I'm excited about what Elijah Granger's and the Trailblazers are going to do this fall.
Absolutely. So if you have any questions or comments that you want to give for Scott Burnstein, you can ask them now on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. But first, let's check out what happened this week in state champs history. We go to a classic from 2008, the Division I softball finale between Garden City and Alpena. Both teams on the hunt for state title numero uno. The game would go into extra innings tied at 1. Garden City senior pitcher Hallie Minch had an incredible state final. Minch struck out 17 Alpena hitters and helped her cause at the plate with the go-ahead single in the top of the 14th as Garden City went on to beat Alpena for its first softball state championship. This week in State Champs history is presented. Okay, so it's just been one of those kind of shows. So we are, it's funny, 56 shows in, Scott, and it doesn't happen till show 56.
Jinx.
Yeah, no, not at all. So we're having, our computer is crashing, batteries are dying. There are some malevolent spirits that are circling around State Champs Live this week that are wreaking some havoc, some poltergeists, as you will. But so we can't. Go ahead.
Let me throw out two more names from the city of Detroit in terms of under the radar or small school quarterbacks that people should be aware of, if you don't mind.
Please.
Over at Detroit Denby, Brandon Grimes, he's an incoming junior. As a sophomore, he took guitars all the way on a deep run into the semifinals, and I think it was Division 5, I believe. And he is a guy that is very dynamic and a guy that makes plays and does it in multiple ways. And then a guy that I'm just in love with in terms of upside and coming on like gangbusters in 2020 is that Detroit Loyola's Anthony Garrett. He's a guy, he's about 6'4", 220, and has a cannon of an arm. And I think he's going to take the Catholic League and just light it on fire these next 2 years at Loyola.
Right. So yeah, I'm really excited for some of the underclassmen and some of the the ones we haven't really talked about a whole lot yet we expect to this season once it gets going. For those of you who follow State Champs and have maybe seen us evolve over the years, we branched out to other states. In fact, we plan on moving into the state of Ohio this fall. So we are kind of working as a tri-state kind of organization here covering high school sports. We've been in Indiana for the past couple of years. Scott, you do writing and do some blogs and scouting for us regarding what's happening in Indiana. Why don't you give us just a kind of a clue as to some of the things that you've been covering on Indiana over the past month or so?
Well, for people that know me, know that I trace some of my roots back to the Hoosier State. Although I'm Michigan born and bred, I'm a diehard Hoosier. I spent a lot of time there in my late teens and 20s going to college at Indiana University, and I just love the state of Indiana. I love the people. I love the athletic landscape, and I think that there's just so much territory there to mine. In terms of stuff that I've been doing for the scout team, Indiana related, I have a football recruiting notebook that I know that's up right now, talking about the best incoming senior quarterback in the state, Donovan McCulley, just committed to IU. And then out of Triton Central, one of the better small school programs and small school players, Jackson Miller, just committed to Army. So, I keep up with the college commitments and offers and buzz when it comes to football and basketball, just as hardcore in Indiana as I do in Michigan. And then with both Michigan and Indiana's blogs, we got some boys basketball rankings for what I call them heat index. Ranking the kids at how hot they are on the recruiting trail right now. So I got one coming out. I think it's already out for the Michigan scout team. I ranked the top 10 hottest basketball recruits in the class of 2023, which is the incoming sophomore class. And then for Indiana, I got one coming out for the incoming junior class.
All right, so he is multifaceted and all kinds of great insight. Just go to our website, statechampsnetwork.com, click on blog, click on State Champs Scout Team, and that is where you can check out all the work that Scott is doing. Scott, I really appreciate you being on the show today and kind of carrying the load. Like the ESPN 3030 we just saw on Bruce Lee, man, you are like water.
I'm water. I'm water.
Or be water, or whatever exactly the title of the show was. So appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks, LP.
Okay, you got it. All right, guys. Well, again, not the show we were envisioning originally. However, we will have a best of show tomorrow. So figure that. We hadn't even planned on having a live show tomorrow. We'll have a best of show. What we're going to do is over the course of the last 56 shows, we are going to bring you the best that we've done with the pro athletes. So athletes like Brandon Graham of the Philadelphia Eagles, all with Michigan high school ties. Edmund Summer, the former Country Day superstar that is with the Indiana Pacers. We also talked with Gerald Mayhew, the Wyandotte Roosevelt hockey star who was in the Minnesota Wild organization. So we'll give you some highlights from some of those interviews for tomorrow. We'll be back next week with another week of shows. Next week is our final week of State Champs Live. So maybe somebody's trying to tell us to end it early. I don't know. But we've got, among some other guests, Ryan Van Dyke, the former Michigan State quarterback. We're going to see what he is doing, talk about his career. That's on Monday. We've got Devin Gardner, the former Wolverine, and Inkster star that will be coming on Tuesday, and some other things planned for the week. So make sure you join us. Thank you so much for watching. I think we're just going to have a cold ending here because the computer does not want to play our videos. And so that is kind of the big problem that we've had today. But again, thank you for sticking with us. We will see you tomorrow. It is best of show, but we will have a program tomorrow. And I will see you live once again on Monday. Thank you so much for watching.